Welcome to the debate. So right now, there are about 56 million women over the age of 55 in the United States.
Yeah, a massive demographic.
Massive. And collectively, they are holding this, just a vast, undocumented library of human history. Wisdom, lived experience, all just sitting in their heads.
Right. Completely unrecorded.
Exactly. And over the last decade, tech founders have actually recognized this. They've accomplished something genuinely remarkable. They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars building an incredibly sophisticated infrastructure to, capture and pass forward a human life.
Oh, the tech is unbelievable.
It really is. We are talking about military-grade digital vaults, highly intuitive memoir platforms, frictionless photo storage, and, interactive AI twins that can actually preserve a person's cadence and conversational style for future generations.
Wow. Yeah, it's an engineering marvel.
It is an engineering marvel, but here is the urgent tension for the executives running these platforms. The vast majority of these women are just walking right past the door.
Right. They just aren't using the tools.
They aren't. So our central question today is why? Is the legacy industry's current technology infrastructure fundamentally sufficient? Like, does it just require better targeted marketing and, optimized user experience funnels? Or is there a critical missing layer here?
A lack of emotional preparation.
Exactly. A profound lack of emotional preparation that is quietly costing the industry millions of users every single year. So I take the position that the technology is absolutely ready. We have built a flawless container. The friction of use has been pretty much eliminated, right?
Okay.
And so the primary barrier to entry is simply a classic adoption and awareness gap. And honestly, effective marketing can solve that.
Well, and I take the opposing stance. Because technology is not the barrier here. Emotional readiness is. Decades of emotional invisibility have convinced these women that their stories simply aren't worth preserving.
But marketing?
No marketing campaign, no matter how clever or well-funded, can overcome that entrenched belief. The industry constructed a magnificent, architectural marvel of a digital platform, but they completely forgot to build an emotional bridge to the front door.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, based on the findings of Kathy Tarochione and the Golden Method framework, I argue that only a specialized layer of what they call emotional technology can actually bridge this gap.
Okay, let me start by laying out the realities of the modern tech landscape. Because when you look at legacy preservation today, we are not asking users to understand database architecture, right, or learn complex software.
No, definitely not.
Right. The user interface on modern platforms is practically invisible. An AI twin uses natural language processing that feels, honestly, exactly like talking to a friend over coffee. The digital vaults unlock with a simple biometric scan, like a thumbprint or just a glance at the screen. So non-adoption of these tools isn't a failure of the product itself. In classic technology adoption life cycles, there's always this chasm between early adopters and the early majority.
Sure, the adoption curve.
Exactly. We saw this exact same hesitancy with cloud computing. We saw it with telehealth. People said, I will never trust a doctor through a screen until the marketing and the sheer utility just normalized it.
Right.
So the gap we are seeing with women over 55 is just a lack of marketing that speaks their language. They just need to be shown how seamlessly these platforms work and how easily they can secure their legacy. We don't need to reinvent human psychology here. We just need a better top-of-funnel strategy to show them the value.
Yeah, I come at it from a fundamentally different way, though. Because you are looking at this through the lens of a traditional SaaS adoption curve, software as a service.
Well, yeah, because it is software.
It is. But preserving a human life isn't like adopting a new calendar app or a telehealth portal, right? Kathy Tarochione's research with the Golden Method fundamentally changes how we need to view this demographic.
How so?
Well, women aren't avoiding these platforms because they find the tech complicated or because the UI is clunky. And they certainly aren't avoiding them because they don't care about their families.
I agree with that.
They avoid these platforms because nobody ever told them their story was worth preserving in the first place. You can have the most frictionless UI in the world, right? But if the user fundamentally believes they have nothing of value to input, the screen remains blank.
Right.
But
That is a failure of emotional infrastructure, not digital infrastructure. You cannot optimize a funnel to fix a core crisis of self-worth. I see why you think that. I really do.
but let me give you a slightly different perspective on it.
Okay.
If you build a state-of-the-art museum, the initial marketing challenge is just convincing people the exhibits are worth their time, right? Surely, showing women the value of their preserved legacy through good marketing will spark that internal belief?
You think marketing solves self-worth?
I think it shifts belief systems. I mean, if an ad campaign shows a grandmother's AI twin bringing absolute joy to her great-grandchildren decades from now, doesn't that external validation create the internal belief that her story matters? We do it all the time in the tech sector. You show the outcome, and the user adopts the behavior.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. And honestly, your museum analogy actually proves my point if we look at it closely.
Wait, how does it prove your point?
Because in your scenario, the museum already has the artifacts. You just need to get people through the door to look at them. But in the legacy industry, the woman is the artifact. She is the curator and the exhibit all at once.
Okay, that's fair.
And she absolutely does not see herself that way. We are talking about a generation of women who have spent 60, 70, 80 years being dismissed, overlooked, and made completely emotionally invisible.
By society.
Right. Society has conditioned them to support everyone else's narrative, their husband's career, their children's milestones, all while minimizing their own inner lives. So when a woman with that lived experience opens a beautifully designed memoir platform, she doesn't just start talking.
She hesitates.
She quietly closes the app. Why? Because the world convinced her that what she survived, built, and learned in the quiet moments of her life just isn't interesting. You cannot fix half a century of societal conditioning with a 30-second ad showing happy grandchildren.
But
Her identity and self-worth have to be rebuilt from the inside out before she ever even sees a login screen.
I hear the need for inner work. I really do. But let me challenge you on the scalability of that. Because we are talking about 56 million women. How on earth do you scale deep psychological healing?
Well, it's not.
I mean, I can deploy an intelligent large language model to 56 million devices tomorrow. I can scale a software solution infinitely. You cannot deploy 56 million therapists to hold their hands.
Nobody is saying we need 56 million therapists.
But if the software is easy enough, doesn't the action precede the belief? If the platform just prompts her to start typing, the momentum of the technology kind of pulls the story out of her. You're ignoring the capability of modern AI to act as a dynamic, empathetic interviewer.
See, what Kathy Tarochione's framework illustrates is that you can scale emotional infrastructure, but absolutely not through an algorithm. The golden method operates by creating an emotional off-ramp before the tech onboarding even begins.
Okay?
It uses these structured peer reflection frameworks where women validate each other's histories first. It's a specialized community-led curriculum. They map their life chapters not for a database, but for their own understanding. It creates a psychological safe zone.
But wait, the AI platforms on the market today don't just present a blank, intimidating page. They use highly sophisticated, dynamic prompts. They chunk the data entry into, like, micro-interactions. So the AI might ask, what was your favorite memory of your mother? Or, tell me about your first job. It does the heavy lifting of organizing the narrative chronologically and thematically. Isn't that prompt, which is guided by an algorithm that adapts to her answers, the exact scaffolding she needs? The AI does the organizing.
Yeah, that is a compelling argument on paper, but it completely falls apart in practice.
Why?
Because it treats memory as clean data. Have you considered the sheer emotional weight of a human life?
Well, of course.
Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine a 70-year-old woman sitting at her kitchen table. The AI cheerfully prompts her, "Tell me about your early marriage." To the software, that is just a data point, to be filed under the 1970s.
Right.
To her, it is an emotional minefield. It might involve silent compromises, a profoundly transformative failure, or even unresolved grief. When she hesitates, the AI simply waits, or it says, "Please continue." It is cold.
I guess it lacks that human intuition.
Exactly. It asks her to synthesize a highly complex, potentially traumatic decade of living on command. Doing that without human emotional support is paralyzing. She doesn't know where to start, not because she lacks a timeline,
but because she lacks an emotional framework to safely explore those memories. The technology assumes a readiness that simply isn't there.
Okay, I am tracking with your logic on the emotional weight of memory. That makes sense. The AI is asking for a summary of an experience that hasn't been emotionally processed yet.
Exactly. And that is exactly where emotional technology comes in as a mechanism. It's not code. It's a systemic approach to human readiness.
Okay.
Before she ever touches the software, she goes through a process that helps her understand why a memory matters and how it shaped her. And she does this in a community of peers. Once she has processed the emotional weight of that early marriage, then she is ready to summarize it for an AI.
Okay, that makes sense for the psychological processing. But let's shift to the operational reality of what happens to that data once it's out of her head.
Sure.
Because a huge part of this hesitancy is often categorized as fear. Fear of exposure, fear of vulnerability. And this is where I really have to lean on the engineering. Because technology is exceptional at mitigating risk.
From a data standpoint, yes.
Yes. Look at the infrastructure we are offering. We are talking about decentralized storage, zero-knowledge architecture, biometric authentication. The user has absolute granular control over everything.
Right.
So if she wants to record a difficult truth about her family, she can use a time-locked vault that literally won't open until 5 years after she passes away. If fear of vulnerability is the issue, doesn't top-tier, cryptographically guaranteed privacy control directly solve that? We can literally guarantee her secrets are safe.
I'm just not convinced by that line of reasoning because you are entirely conflating digital security with emotional safety. They are two completely different paradigms.
How so? I mean, if the data cannot be breached, she is mathematically safe.
Yes, her data is safe from Russian hackers, but the threat model she is worried about isn't a data breach. It's emotional exposure to her own lineage.
Oh, I see.
Right? Telling your authentic story means deciding what truths to share and what secrets to protect from your own family. It means trusting that the people who eventually hear it, her daughter, her grandchildren, will receive it with respect rather than judgment.
That is a very different kind of vulnerability.
Exactly. For women who have spent their lives being judged and minimized, vulnerability does not come from a secure login. A 256-bit encryption key doesn't protect you from the fear of your daughter misunderstanding your life choices.
Wow. Yeah.
Furthermore, even if she sets a time lock on the vault so her family doesn't hear it until she's gone, the act of recording it now still stirs up the latent grief now. The software offers absolutely no comfort when she's sitting alone in her living room, crying over a memory she just uploaded.
That is a fascinating distinction, honestly. The security of the vault protects the data tomorrow, but it does absolutely nothing to protect her emotional state today while she is actively engaging with the memory.
Precisely. Emotional safety has to be built carefully on a deeply human foundation. Legacy platforms are at their core tech companies. They are built to capture, structure, and preserve, and they are absolutely brilliant at it.
Thank you.
But they are not built to prepare a woman emotionally to participate in that highly vulnerable process. That isn't a criticism of the tech founders. It is simply a category difference. You cannot engineer an algorithm to hold space for someone's grief.
You know, when you frame it as a category difference, it clarifies a massive friction point that tech executives struggle with constantly, and that is user churn.
Ah, right.
We spend millions optimizing the top of the funnel, we run the ads, we get these women to create an account, maybe they upload a handful of photos from the 1980s, and then, well, they abandon the platform entirely.
They hit the wall.
Exactly. The analytics show this massive drop-off right at the moment of deep narrative engagement. If what you're saying is true, delivering an emotionally unprepared user to a state-of-the-art platform is actually what is causing the churn.
Yes.
The technology is performing its function perfectly, but the user is experiencing an emotional short circuit that the platform simply has no mechanism to resolve.
Yes, absolutely. You are delivering a fragile, unprepared human into a highly demanding, purely logical system. The friction is inevitable. And this is where we synthesize the solution.
Right.
This is where the broader emotional technology ecosystem comes into play. The Golden Life community and frameworks like it aren't trying to build another app to compete with legacy platforms. They are building the funnel itself.
Oh, I like that.
The mechanism is partnership. You integrate this emotional preparation into spaces where these women already are. You partner with senior living communities, healthcare systems, hospital-at-home programs, hospice organizations. You reach the woman where she feels safe, and you take her through the golden method there, with human facilitators.
So by the time she even clicks a link to one of these legacy preservation tools, she's already been transformed.
Exactly.
The tech platform is no longer acting as the cold interviewer. It's really just the microphone she's finally ready to speak into.
Spot on. The woman who has delivered to your legacy platform by the golden method is a completely different user than a woman who just clicked a targeted Instagram ad. She already knows her story matters.
She has the self-worth.
Right. She has done the inner work. She has practiced vulnerability in a community of women who hold her with respect. When she finally logs into your beautiful digital vault or your AI memoir platform, she doesn't freeze at the first prompt.
She just engages.
She sits down, she starts talking, and she does not stop. She is already motivated, and she already believes that what she carries inside her deserves to live forever.
That completely shifts the paradigm for the industry. To pull back and look at where I've landed based on this discourse today, the legacy technology sector has indeed achieved unprecedented capabilities. I mean, the infrastructure to store, structure, and secure human history is practically magic compared to where we were even 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
But I am seeing the severe limitations of treating human lives as pure data points to be processed. We kind of assume that if we built the perfect container, the user would naturally pour their soul into it. But the human condition, specifically the intense societal conditioning of women over 55, requires a catalyst that code alone cannot provide.
Yeah. And on my side, while I remain adamant that emotional preparation is the essential first step, I also recognize that the incredible tools built by the legacy industry are the vital vessels needed to actually preserve that newly unlocked narrative.
Right.
I mean, the golden method does the heavy lifting of rebuilding identity and self-worth, but without the decentralized vaults and the AI recording tools, those recovered stories would still eventually be lost to time. We need your engineering marvels. We just need to ensure that women are emotionally prepared to utilize them.
It seems we have arrived at a really vital point of convergence. The central issue plaguing platform founders isn't a technology problem, and it certainly isn't a problem that can be solved by throwing more venture capital at marketing campaigns.
Definitely not.
It is fundamentally an emotional readiness problem. The industry built the infrastructure, but they missed the human bridge.
The future of the industry relies entirely on a partnership between these two forces. Legacy platforms preserve the story, but emotional technology prepares the woman to tell it.
I think there is so much more to explore here, particularly for tech founders listening who are staring at their engagement metrics right now, wondering why the funnel is leaking. The integration of, say, a chief emotional technology advisor.
Oh, that's a great concept.
Audit a platform specifically for these emotional engagement gaps and identify exactly where and why women are experiencing that emotional short circuit. That could be the key to unlocking millions of users. We spent an hour talking about the tech, but the real innovation might just be in how we treat the human before they ever touch a keyboard. You know, we spent a decade building the perfect rocket ship to carry human history into the future.
But we forgot that the astronauts need to believe they are worthy of the journey before they will ever step inside.
Exactly. A perfectly engineered vessel means nothing if the crew doesn't believe they deserve to fly.